So what we are doing here is trying to offer services and to basically reduce cost of cultivation and increase net income for farmers, and do it in a climate sustainable form. So we have something called Rice360, which is our program. So 360 is basically comprehensive. It suggests basically covering all requirements for farmers. So starting from inputs, including seed, fertilizers, pesticides. We're collaborating with the FPO on that. We're investing in the shop here. Then we are offering mechanization services, because a big part of the cost of cultivation today is labor cost, and labor is also very unreliable. So first of all, they are not available. Secondly, they are very expensive. And then when you ask them to come, they may not show up at the right time. So it's a big problem for farmers. So we are starting to offer mechanization services. So for example, transplantation for rice, it costs more than 6,000 rupees an acre today. Purely just for taking the seedlings and transplanting. That activity alone costs 6,000 plus, right? Per acre, yeah. With mechanization, by direct seeding, that comes down to 2,500. So that is immediate savings that a farmer gets. Second thing, so inputs, mechanization services. Then we're also looking at finance. If you look at the economics of farmers, what happens is there are pockets of time where they need some operating capital, right? So what they do is they just go to a local, lender, or typically an input shop, and they give you on credit. Are you familiar with this dynamic? Yeah. So there is a hidden cost when that happens. There is an interest. Usually a high interest rate. They also some of the vendors, they just give you things that you don't need because you're going to them. So by having an association like an FPO, where the organization is set up for the interests of the farmer primarily, right? It's not for profit. It's not for making money or anything. The primary objective of the FPO is to cater to the needs of the farmer. So by bringing some finance providers like NBFCs and things like that, and then combining that with with also the machinery services and things like that, we're trying to eliminate that reliance on private lenders, and therefore the amount of that debt that they get into would also be reduced. And the other thing is that on the output side also, we're trying to figure out how can we improve the economics there. Typically if you take the produce and sell directly the produce, so the raw produce, the farmer doesn't make a lot of money there. But if you do some processing, some value-added processing, like if you take between raw paddy versus rice, there's a huge difference between the level of income that you would make. But there are entrenched players and things like that, all these millers and all that. So they are there for a reason. But is there something like you see here, these dryers, the pickle making setup and things like that? These are all attempts to take the raw produce and then try to do some value addition right here, so the farmer makes a cut of the value in the supply chain, right? So we're trying to also see how what are the ways that we can make a difference there. So these are some of the things that we're doing here.
Apart from that, track and tracing.
So yeah, all of this happens in the background. We have a digital system that we have built for tracking all the activities that happen on the farm. So it starts with digitization of the land itself, the boundaries of the land, and then farmer information, and from planning before sowing itself. From the planning all the way to harvesting, we track all the activities that happen on the farm. So the benefit of that is, one thing is you can now start proving the quality of your produce and the quality of the processes you apply during the production process. That gives you the ability to get certified. There is a thing called Sustainable Rice Platform, which we are trying to promote. And then there is things like organic certification, things like good agricultural practices, GAP certification. All of these require the proof that you have done something, right? So when the auditor comes and says, okay, what have you done? And then you write it on piece of paper, it's very low quality, right? Because it's subject to manipulation. A lot of people actually cheat. When the produce gets exported, for example, on the receiving side, the importer side, there is very low trust that whatever promises that you're making, they don't believe you. It's a big problem. So this helps the data collection. So we have an app, for example. Our staff here, they go to the farm, they take pictures, they record their notes. And that goes to agronomy, like sir will, look at that and say, do this intervention in this immediately, otherwise, you lose the crop, for example, right? So this digital technology basically helps you track everything, and then it also helps you down the road in making decisions. Some of the things like climate change, right? You don't know. It's kind of the summer is coming sooner, for example, right? So the data that gets collected can be now fed to research teams and said, okay, how can you improve seeds, or can you come up with a different seed or different methodology, POPs to shield the farmers from climate effects, for example. And the data can also be used for proving carbon footprint. So that is one of the efforts here also. So are you familiar with carbon credits?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically the DSR, we are reducing the amount of water that is used in DSR, right? So because of that, the methane emissions come down when you reduce the water, standing water. But because of that intervention, now you can qualify for carbon credits. Carbon credits also require a way of proving that you've done, whatever you've done, right? Like if you've done alternate wet and dry, right? So how does some organization, some verifier sitting in Bombay or US or somewhere, how do they know that you have done this, right? How do you prove to them? You need to have data for that, right? So the same data that we use for tracking, for certification and for other things, also by adding additional data, you can also use that for getting carbon credits also. So we are working with some partners on that. We're registering the current. So the size of the pilot, this pilot project is 450 acres. So we're starting with that. And then we aim to just basically, the carbon projects require something like 30,000 acres of land registered, pooled from various farmers, and then get credits and then distribute the credits back to the farmers. Partially it goes to the investors, partially it goes to the farmers, like that. That's how it works. So there are benefits to having this tracking of all the activities that happen on the farm. And we use our digital platform and tools to do that. So that's it. Any questions?